It's time for, hello, a Jersey Shore recap podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
It's us, and we're back.
We are back. This is Gwoww.
And I'm Cookie, and together we're Cookie and Gwoww, and you know we love to recap all the classic seasons of Jersey Shore. We finished season 1 and 2, and now we're moving on to season 3.
Yes, at this point in time, season 3 is recorded, edited. We're getting ready to release it. If you're hearing this, it'll probably be out next Jersday. But I wanted to do a little check-in because I had some experience with Jersey Shore, but I need to preface that this is going to be a great story with a very, very lackluster ending.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out what kind of a journey to take everybody, including Cookie yourself, on. And I was like, I could really hype this up, but I just feel like I don't want everybody to go through the disappointment I went through. So we're going to understand that I didn't meet the cast and nothing cool happened, but the cast filmed in my city, so I have some teas, some stories, and kind of like what went down.
Okay, and I'm excited. What happened?
Okay, so I have a friend who's in the restaurant industry, and he messaged me being like, Jersey Shore is filming in Tucson this weekend, and they're going to be at the bar I work at. You should come and meet them. And when he sent me that message, come and meet them, I'm like through the roof excited, thinking, you know, he's got all the ins and whatever. And to be fair, he had a lot of the ins, that's for sure. But their plan that we heard from the restaurant and from like, you know, all the rumors and everything was that they were going to go to a nearby place to eat, a steakhouse, which was very on brand for Mike, the situation. He loves the steakhouse. So they were going to go to this local steakhouse, and then this bar is in walking distance. So they were going to go from the steakhouse to the bar. And they wanted people to be at the bar so it looked like busy. And it was a Sunday night. So I could see why they'd maybe be like, oh, let's get some people. Now, I don't go out on Sundays, but I'm like, I might be in the background of Jersey Shore if they are filming. Like, that's what I'm kind of expecting, is like, they're going to be in the same room as me. There's going to be cameras that maybe I can get, you know, some sort of, you know, when it's on, I can be like, look, there's my orange hair. You know what I'm saying? So I go out on a Sunday at 8 p.m., which I never do because I'm 31 years old. And I was expecting like nobody really to give a fuck and me to be the only fangirl, really. I met a lot of other Jersey Shore people. I plugged our podcast.
Okay.
But it was like 8 o'clock, and then it was 9 o'clock, and we'd heard their dinner reservations were for 8 o'clock. And then we heard they canceled the dinner reservations. And I was like, okay, so that's not a good sign, right? Now, a lot of people at this point were kind of like, are they even in fucking Tucson? Like, is this even real? But I knew it was real for two reasons. Number one, Mike and Lawrence had already posted that they were in this resort in like the uprich area of Tucson where there's like these nice pools and like lavish places. And they were on a baby moon, which maybe is why they were even in Tucson in the first place, because they, in their caption, it was like, we came here for our first baby moon. So maybe they were like, oh, we're baby mooning in Tucson. Let's just film there. I don't know. So I knew Mike and Lawrence were already here. And then our podcast has an in, you know, with Chris Buckner, because we love the Buckners. We love Dina. We love Chris. So I messaged Chris that when I heard that they were going to be there to, I don't know, because I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen? He doesn't answer. Like, I'm not trying to, you know, stalk his whole life on the boardwalk. I'm just trying to like maybe confirm, maybe he, I don't know. I guess in the best world, he'd invite me somewhere, but obviously that was like a fairy tale. But I messaged him really nicely and respectfully, was like, hi, Chris, I heard that you guys are filming Jersey Shore in Tucson this weekend. I actually live there. There's so many great places to eat. Wherever you go, I recommend getting a prickly pear margarita. That's kind of what like Tucson's known for. You can get them all over the city, blah, blah, blah. And he nicely answered and was like, thanks so much for the suggestion. I'll be sure to try it. So that for me was like confirmation they're going. And then I saw Dina had posted her and her kids on the plane going to, like, I'm assuming getting on the plane to Tucson. So I'm like, no, they're here. Like, I know they're here. But then the rumors going around was that they canceled dinner because they were fighting. And that is very, very, very common on Jersey Shore Family Vacation, where they'll have full on plans and sit in the room fighting instead. They missed like a 4-hour pool party one season to just sit in the room and have a sit down. They call it sit downs. So then it's like after 9 o'clock, it's almost 10. And I'm like, so I'm pretty sure they're not coming. And I was with my one friend who was kind of like, how long should we, like, at what point do we, throw in the towel? And we stayed till 11. And that's when we were, we were having fun anyway. But we ultimately were like, all right, let's throw in the towel. And we heard that they were going to be there all week. And if for anybody who's listening who knows Tucson, they were supposed to go to Charo Steakhouse. That's the name of the steakhouse they were supposed to go to. And then they were supposed to go over to Playground. And then at some point, there was rumors that like, oh, maybe they're not going to Playground. They might be going to High Wire or Cobra, which High Wire is kind of a club. I've only ever gone there for like fundraising brunches during the day. So I don't totally know its actual vibe. And Cobra is an arcade bar that is very tiny. So I was like, I cannot imagine them squeezing into Cobra. But I'm like, whatever. They didn't end up going out that night, but we're like, they're going to be there all week. Well, I'm not going to go out to the clubs every night just in hopes that they're there. But I saw other people who I guess either had intel I didn't know or whatever. Like I saw on TikTok, I saw this one girl from my work. Later that week, like on Monday or Tuesday, they did end up going to High Wire and to Cobra, but I didn't know till after it was already over. So it's not even like I saw them and could like run downtown. Like I saw like when I woke up the next morning, I saw people like posting at midnight that people were out. Like there was just no way, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. I was honestly at this point super disappointed. Like I was like, I missed my chance. I don't know. And I think I kind of sat with that and like let it sink in of like, okay, it's not happening. That was, pretty high hopes in the first place, again, unless I was going to stalk their whole life on the boardwalk, but whatever. So then Friday comes around and I saw that Dina posted and it was like wrapped filming family pool day. And they didn't post a location, but I've been to the place that they posted from. I knew exactly where it was. It was called Star Pass, like Marriott. It's a hotel. And so I've been to this pool because in Tucson, first of all, it's like hot Arizona City, and you can rent day passes for the really nice like hotel pools that are super loungy and have the slides and all the extravagant things. And so I saw exactly, and I knew exactly where they were because this one has a lazy river pool, and they were posting in it, and it was like 1 hour ago, 30 minutes ago that she's posting. And so I'm like, first of all, Dina is ballsy for posting in real time where she's at. But I had the moment I was like, do I call out of work for the rest of the day and just book a day pass at the pool and go stalk them and just randomly be like, hey guys, remember me? We messaged. But I was like, there's absolutely a crazy part of me that wants to. And then I'm like, I can't, like, I had already accepted defeat. That would have been actually stalkerish. It just felt like too much. And I was watching their stories all day. Like they were there all day and all night. They were out by the fire pits. And I was like, a part of me really wants to dream that I could just walk up, be like, hey, Dina, hey, Chris. And they'd be like, oh my God, the girl from Hello, just sit down and hang out with us for the rest of the night. But that is obviously not how it would have gone. Like they would have been like, hi, okay, like you to take a picture, then please leave us to our family vacation that we're trying to enjoy, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful. So I did let that fairy tale leave at that point. And I think that JWoww and her daughter and then Angelina, they all stayed. So it seemed like a nice little girls' day. And I guess whoever was fighting, it was not Angelina and Jenny, which is pretty common currently on the season. But so that was my experience with everything. So obviously it didn't go anywhere. I will say this, it will be super, super, super exciting when those episodes air, because I'm going to know all the places. Maybe I'll like see my coworker in the background, like who knows? So I'm still excited to see those episodes. I've already swallowed the disappointment, but like I'm not going to act like it wasn't a tough pill to swallow. So that happened. But here's some of the inside tea. In this season, in season 3, this is me talking to our listeners now. In season 3, you're going to hear Cookie and I talk about what's going on in Jersey Shore Family Vacation, where Sammy comes back and they tease Ron coming back. And they kind of tease a sit down with Ron. And I mentioned that in probably our finale or one of our last episodes, because that's at that point what we had seen on TV and what we knew. I've heard and then seen video that Sam and Ron are filming together, and we're filming together in Tucson. And I'm going to give Sam a lot of credit for being a really big person in that scenario. I also emphatically say that we do not need Ron on our television screens in this season multiple times. And for the record, I stand by it. I don't need to see Ron ever again. I'm not happy with the fact that he's back. I don't think it's fair that Sammy made this wonderful reunion back into the series just for them to throw her back in with Ron. I know that she's in a better place and she's got a boyfriend, and like, I'm sure she is very emotionally mature to be able to do that. And I do think we're going to kind of see how a little bit of it unfolds prior to their trip to Tucson. But I know some people are like, wow, it feels so healing that Sam and Ron are filming together again. I don't feel that way. I think this is a mistake. I hate Ron still. And I just want to go on record in saying that even though I know he's coming back, my tune is never going to change. I'm not going to go out and troll him or anything, but I'm never going to be on board for the Ron train. At least not right now. Not enough time has passed to show he's actually reformed. So I don't trust him yet. I just don't. And that's where I'm at right now in November of 2023. So
I'm right
that's
with
what I
you.
have to say.
I'm right with you. I agree. I think Ron has showed that he's not capable of the type of growth that he would require for us to accept him again. And I think it's okay for him to be done. Like, he's part of the original core 8, but that doesn't mean he has to be around forever. They can write him out.
I'd also be okay if he only did like a couple little sit down lunches with Mike here and there, and they threw him his paycheck that way. But he doesn't need to be in with the girls and their daughters and everybody else. And like, I know that he's not going to like, it doesn't seem like he's the kind of guy to domestically abuse somebody he's not in a relationship with, but that doesn't mean that I don't know. That doesn't mean I'd feel safe around him, you know, just as a castmate. So I don't think he's shown enough growth yet to be giving him as much grace as everybody, including the internet, is giving him. So
agreed. I agree. And we forget that a lot of his crimes and things that he needs to reform from are very recent. We're not talking like 2011. This is stuff from a couple years ago. And I think it's so exploitative because we all saw it coming that eventually Sam and Ron would be put together again. And I feel like that was sort of part of the deal. And I think Sam probably knew that was the case, which is why it took her so long to come back. But even with her knowing that, even if she knew that and came back being okay with that, it still feels exploitative that they like essentially are forcing her to do it to get back on the show. I don't know if that's what's happening, but it seems like that's the case. So it feels exploitative and gross. I agree. I mean, I'll still watch the episodes, but it's like I watch it not and enjoy it. I watch it just out of morbid curiosity, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's nice in a way that we have a podcast to kind of like decompress and talk and like, you know, kind of compare what happened then versus now. But I think we also have the unique perspective of like not forgetting everything that happened because we're analyzing it week to week and whatever. And so I think about that of like maybe people who aren't reliving this the way we are have kind of had that forgive and forget. But like you said, some of those things are recent. And when Mike came back on family vacation, he had been sober for like, I want to say 3, 4, 5 years. And Ronnie has been reformed for less than 2. And even that I feel like is generous. Like Snooki was saying on the show that her and Ron hadn't talked for 2 years, but I don't think that full 2 years is then him being reformed. I feel like they had a boundary that eventually, you know, led to them cutting Ron off. And that was a 2-year mark where then somewhere in that 2 years, he fixed himself and got it together. So I feel like it could only be a year or even less than that. And I'm sorry, like that's not enough time. Even if you go through different AA and NA programs, they tell you like you're not supposed to date or make big commitments until like you've been a year sober, because you like run the risk of, if something is impacted, then you're really vulnerable and can relapse. And I'm not an AA expert or anything, but Ronnie, I don't have he doesn't have my trust as a viewer yet. And I'm just like, I get that these castmates have history, but how can you have any area for forgiveness? I don't know.
Right. And the whole thing kind of makes me think about the relationship between the cast and production, because to my understanding, a lot of the people producing Family Reunion are a lot of the same people from the original show. And
yes.
so these, in addition to the cast knowing each other for over a decade now, they've also, production and them have had a behind the scenes relationship for all this time. And so it makes me think like what it would to be a reality TV producer and to build relationships with these people over a decade, to still kind of have your job be to exploit them and put them in compromising positions. Like, I wonder how that would feel as a producer. I wonder how the cast looks at the producers. That's something I always think about, because you forget that they're there, but they're there. There's a bunch of people behind the scenes making these decisions about, let's set up this meeting, let's have Ron and Sam. So that I always think of
There's
that.
gotta be a balance between like doing your job and then knowing that these are people, not products. Like at the end of the day, they are producers, but like that's also, she's not Snooki, she is Nicole. You know, it's kind of like a balance. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, I stand by everything I said as that we recorded in season 3. So I haven't changed my mind about Ron at all yet. That's for sure.
Same. I've had my fill as well. I'm good without him.
I agree. Well, that's all the tea. And I still liked, diving through season 3. I think it's really fun to like have, again, the contrast of what's going on. And I will be super excited to talk about when the episodes in Tucson air. So we'll be on that for sure, even if there's just our little like housekeeping recaps in the beginning of the episodes.
Well, yeah, and hopefully the timeline works out when we're doing season 4. So we'll try to check in. If we're not filming, we'll probably just check in anyways to like double back. But until then, yes, correct. When you were hearing this podcast, you will be getting new episodes starting the next Jersday. So make sure that you're following us on your favorite social media app.
Yeah, season 3 is a good one. So make sure you're following and getting ready. And yeah, it'll be out every Jersday starting next week.
We'll see you then. I'm so excited.
All right. Goodbye.
Hello. Goodbye.
If you want more of the podcast, you can follow us on any social media at Hello Pod.
We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/hello. We've got a video feed there so you can see our beautiful faces while we recap Jersey Shore. And we've also got a little bit of behind the scenes bonus content for you.
And you can find me anywhere online at The Lead Regina, including my website, theleadregina.com.
And you can find me online on TikTok and Instagram at angel.iconic.music.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.